All right, what's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. I'm sorry, I'm actually not live on Facebook today because my connection's not allowing me to go live. So I will drop this recording in the group. Either myself or Jason, Cody, or Sandra will drop this recording in the group so you can come back and rewatch this. So once again, these calls on Thursdays, obviously we'll take your question and answers, your Q&As. I also like to dive a little bit deeper into the actual software and different things that you can do to enhance your use with the system. Remember that when you get the system from us, that comes with your basic information, your basic campaigns, your basic triggers. But like so many other people in this group, you too can use this to go even deeper with your leads, with your clients. I mean, I have people here that are using this as a full-fledged CRM. I have people that are just using it as just the lead manager. So I'm gonna try to always bring value on Thursdays to show you how to get deeper with with the system. So today what we're gonna focus on is triggers. So we all know, and if you don't know yet, triggers is the backbone of this software. Okay, you can have as many campaigns as you want. However, if you have to manually put a prospect in every single time, then it sort of defeats the purpose of the software. So in order to automate all that, we use triggers, and the triggers helps you save a lot of your valuable time. We're going to dive in over here. I'm going to show you just a couple different triggers, how they actually work, right? You're using the triggers that came with this system, obviously. I'll show you how we set them up initially. If you already know how to set them up, then awesome. If I can provide any more value on this call, I hope so. But for those of you that have not set up any triggers yet on your own, or having issues with the current triggers, not understanding what different parts of the triggers mean, well, this call is for you. And I will tell you right now, we're not going to cover every single part of the triggers because there's a lot to do. So we're going to just do a few things. And obviously, if you don't want to spend the time, if it becomes too time consuming for you to create the triggers and build out your software, but you want to build it out to do even more what it can do currently, obviously speak to our team. We have a build team in-house over here that will do custom builds for you. It's just a one-time fee. It's not anything that's going to break the bank for you. We can get, they're all proven systems that we have. And again, if you need something specifically customized to what you need, we're here. We have the staff to do it for you. So let's dive in. I'm assuming you can all see my screen. We're going to go into triggers. So my triggers are going to look a little different than yours because I do a lot of testing from this account. But the basics of it is we're going to now set up a trigger from scratch to make Facebook lead work in your campaign, or make whatever lead you're running on Facebook work in real time. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to the new basic rule. You click the green button, and it's going to bring you to this screen. You're going to want to name your trigger. Now, when it comes to naming triggers and naming campaigns in general, notice how we don't really have folders in here yet. And the way that we're able to keep track of everything is by systematically numbering them in some sort of order that makes sense to you. So let's quickly hop back out of here for a second. So notice how my campaigns, where are my campaigns? Let's not use the reactivation campaign because that's on a different type of numbering that I use. Let's use my new giveaway lead PNC insurance campaign. So notice how I have it numbered 1 in a parentheses and then lowercase a period. All right. So the corresponding trigger that's going to make this campaign kick in is the same exact numbering. So that's how we're able to keep track of everything. And then also that's how you keep track of all the triggers within here as well. So we're going to go to new basic rule. We're going to name this campaign, and we're going to name this trigger. I'm sorry. I'm going to call this trigger, just for me, ZZ, because I just want an easy time finding this. Then we're going to do 1. All right. And we're going to call this demo trigger new lead. All right. So understanding the trigger screen, you're going to always want to make sure that your active triggers are activated. If they're not activated and a lead comes in, the trigger will not start, and therefore the lead's not going to end up where you need it to go. The action's not going to happen if it's in draft mode. You're going to see this green save button. You have to save every single thing that you do on a trigger, or else it will revert back to where it was before. And don't worry, if you're making any changes and you hit the back button, it's going to warn you before going out that you haven't saved it. Once you build this trigger, you'll have an option to delete the trigger, or you can actually duplicate the trigger. And we'll duplicate this at the end. I'll show you how that button works, but you don't have to worry. You're not going to have to do this from scratch for every single trigger if you want to do the same action with a couple different reactions. All right, so that's the basic overview of how we make sure the triggers stay functioning. You're going to see that there's two steps. There's step number 1 in the trigger and step number 2 in the trigger. Step number 1 is what's going to actually cause the trigger to start. All right, so what should trigger this rule? So you're going to see the drop down, insurance lead machine, or Facebook. All right, so insurance lead machine is going to be where you're going to use 90% of this, because that's going to be anything within this insurance lead machine software that can cause a trigger to work. Whereas Facebook, if you, let's say you're taking a Facebook form and someone fills out the form, so that's going to be triggered by an off insurance lead machine software, which is Facebook, and that's how we're going to bring that information into the system. So for the sake of this specific meeting, we're gonna do everything within insurance lead machine. We're going to bring in data from a survey. So it's gonna ask us, what trigger do we want to make this action start? So notice there's a lot of different triggers, and as we get through these calls, we'll get deeper into these triggers. So the one we're gonna be using is when a survey is submitted. Okay, so we take the survey link to a Facebook ad, they click learn more, they click get quote, whatever it is, they fill out the survey, they click submit. That's when this trigger is going to start. However, the system needs to know which survey we're talking about. So we're going to say the survey is, let's say, let's just use a random one. We're going to just use survey 16, and I'm going to edit that after. Okay, so when survey 16 is submitted, it will then send the trigger to step number 2, which is the action that's going to be performed by submitting the survey. And the actions, there's so many different types of things that you can do with this, but we're going to go through some basic ones, some basic setups that actually came with the system. So first thing we're going to do is click the add action button. And once again, you're going to see the drop down over here. Over here, we're going to keep everything in insurance lead machine. So the first thing we want to do when the lead comes in from the survey, we want to add it to a campaign. And it's going to bring down another drop down once we decide what the action is. It's going to say, which campaign do we want it to go into? Well, I want it to go into a new lead insurance campaign. All right. So if we just keep it as is, we save the trigger right now, then what's going to happen is John submits the form. It's going to come into Kelly's inbox because the trigger is sending it to the campaign. And once it goes into the campaign, don't forget it's assigning a user. But I wanted to do other things besides that to make my life easier. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, once again, hit the add action button and stay within insurance lead machine. I'm going to actually add an opportunity. I want it to go to my pipeline so I can actually follow this lead around. So I'm going to click add opportunity. It's going to bring down all my drop downs over here, and it's going to tell me to select a pipeline. The pipeline that I want it to go into is insurance leads. Once it goes into that pipeline, I also want it to go into a specific stage, and that stage is going to be new leads. So up until right now, John submits the form. It hits the trigger. The trigger says the form is submitted, go into the campaign and start running the campaign. It also says go into the pipeline, the opportunities of insurance leads into the stage of new lead. Now, once we're sending it into the new leads stage, I also want to track other things. One of the things I want to track on here is what type of survey this is, right? So let's just say the lead source for this survey, let's just say I have 4 different surveys, and I put one of them out on Facebook, I put one of them out on Twitter, I put one of them out on YouTube. So you can actually have different triggers for each one. Remember, like I said in the beginning, you can duplicate the trigger. You do not have to start from scratch on each time. But when you get to this step, you can actually put in your opportunity source. So this one, I'm going to say that I'm putting this link in on Facebook. So I'm going to write Facebook generated. My lead value. So you can assign the lead value right over here in the trigger. This is the lead value when you come, the pipeline value when you come into the system on the dashboard. So let's say my average household premium, let's say, is $1,200. and I want to keep my agents, happy, get them excited, keep myself excited. I want to make sure the pipeline looks, we know how much potential premium there is to write in the pipeline. So I might type in $1,200 over here. And every time a lead comes through here, it's going to be valued at $1,200. Now, I personally do not keep mine valued because I like to value mine once I run the quote. But it depends on really how you're running your agency, how really you work. Then you're going to select the status. Your status is going to be open. All right. So we have a new lead coming into this. We have a new lead coming through the survey. It's going into the new campaign. It's going into the insurance leads pipeline. It's going into the new lead stage. We're actually going to, the lead is going to be sourced from Facebook. So it's going to say on the lead, on the person's contact card, it's going to say Facebook generated. And then we're going to pick a value, which is $1,200, and we're going to keep it open. Now, let's say I want more actions to happen, right? So it's in the campaign, it's in the pipeline, but I also want to get a notification that it came in, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to hit add action, and we're going to click choose an action, and we're going to click send an email. And this is what you'd be used to if you're using any marketing company or any lead aggregator. You're used to a lead notification coming in your email saying, hey, Steve, you have a lead. There's a name, phone number, email, go fight it, go sell it. So you can actually create that on your own, and you can actually make it a lot more customized to what you need. So here's what I do. I do from JSU Media. That's my media company. Right. So I generated it. I'm sending it to Steve at insuranceleadmachine.com. My subject is going to be brand new insurance lead. All right. Then in the messaging, I'm going to write this. Here are the details. Now I'm going to use custom fields to be able to actually put all the information into this email so that my producer will know exactly what's going on, even if they're not near their system, if they don't have their app on their phone. They'll get an email and they'll see exactly what they need to do. They'll see what they're in for. So I'm going to first type everything out, name, and then I'm going to go custom values, contact, full name. So it's going to tell me the name of the person. Then we're going to go type in a phone, custom values, contact, phone. Then we're going to go email. Then we're going to go contact, email. Then we're going to go, let's say, address. And again, you can get any custom value as long as that is being answered in the survey. If the survey does not ask for an address, it will not fill in the address section. But the point of this is that, again, you can set up a notification for yourself via email, and you can send it to wherever you want. Now, let's say you also want a text notification. Now, remember, you're going to be paying for text notifications because you pay per text with Twilio. So again, you're going to click add action, choose an action, and you're going to click send SMS. And I copied everything from in there already. We're going to send it to, we're going to send it to the user. So you can just copy and paste this. User first underscore. I'm pretty sure this is the custom field for user. I could be wrong. I'm just guessing. And then we're going to write the text, and it's going to say here are the details. And again, they will come via text. Now, again, you can add more actions. I'm going to show you two more actions that I personally use. One of the actions is going to be adding a tag. All right. So remember, the lead came in through the survey. It's being dropped into the campaign, being dropped into the pipeline, into a specific stage. We're tagging the action. We're not tagging. I'm sorry. We are titling the lead the source. I have to not say tag because I'm about to show you a tag. It's not, when you're adding the source, it's not tagging the lead. You're just able to see where the source, you're able to just track where your source is. However, though, we're about to add a tag so you can actually track the lead through the pipeline. So we're going to go to add an action, and we're going to click add contact tag. And the contact tag we're going to write is new lead. Now, once the lead is tagged, I can now do different triggers and do different actions within the software based on the tag. So let's just say I have 100 leads that came in through my Facebook ad and 50 of them responded. Okay, 50 of them responded, which means that they're going to move automatically to the responded stage. But I have 50 people that went through my entire sequence up front and they did not respond. Well, I want to resend that campaign to those 50 leads, but I want to make sure that they're not going to the leads that responded, because I would look dumb. So what we do is, because we tag this lead as new lead, anybody that's sitting in the stage of new lead is going to remain with the new lead tag. Anybody that, and the way I have it set up is that anybody that leaves the new lead stage, they lose that tag. Therefore, if I create a trigger or I create some sort of sequence and I tell the system, send this campaign only to people that have the tag new lead, I've, number one, made myself have a job that's much easier. I don't have to manually vet things, see if this person responded, did respond, didn't respond. Number two is that I'm going to make sure that everything is done seamlessly. Again, what it comes down to is saving my time. All right, so this contact tag is actually very important. Now you can put in as many contact tags as you want. So you might decide, hey, you know what? I also want to put in that it's a Facebook lead. I also might want to put in it's a giveaway that I did. Again, you'd be able to track your sources like that as well, but with the tags. So let's just say, you know, it's a giveaway lead and the person didn't respond, but you know it's in the new lead section, right? So if you decide you want to put a trigger in that says, send this campaign to people with the tag new lead and giveaway. So instead of just sending them a campaign that says, hey, you're just following up, you might say, hey, you know, we just did the drawing for the Orlando giveaway last week. You know, unfortunately you didn't win. However, we're going to actually draw another one next week. Are you interested in getting back in? So you can actually customize everything you're doing based on how your leads are tagged and how and therefore it allows your system to work properly and be more efficient. Give me just 1 second over here. All right. Now, the last action I'm going to add over here, and I'm going to actually show you. Give me just 1 second. Let me pull it up. You can add notes or you can add a task. So I'm actually going to add a task over here. And again, this is just going to be another way to notify a user or notify something in the system that there's a new lead in here. So I'm going to write new Facebook lead description. And I'm going to put all this stuff in there again. I'm going to assign to user do. All right. So we've just set up a trigger. And pretty much what we have set up over here is we have a lead submitting a survey. The survey information that the lead put in pretty much going into the campaign. Once it goes into the campaign, it's also going into the pipeline. It's going to add it to a stage. We're going to tag it. We're going to be able to keep track of it. And we're going to be able to see the progression from cold to close, like I like to say. So that's the way you set up the trigger from scratch. If you have any questions, feel free to comment on the video, post in the group. Obviously, we're all here to help you. Otherwise, have a great day.